Hello, Professor and classmates. Today I will have my presentation. My topic is International Criminal Courts and the repression of international crimes in domestic jurisdictions. Here's my table of contents. My presentation is mainly divided into 4 parts: the establishment of internationalized or mixed courts, merits and the flaw of international crime justice, international law and the ambit of state criminal jurisdiction, principles of criminal jurisdiction. Here is the first part. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, the UN Security Council considered the situation in some states as being suitable for the establishment of mixed courts, and is reflected in the following cases. In the case of Sierra Leone, it actively dealt with the matter, and following negotiation with the UN, the Cambodian government adopted a law. In 2003, UN and Lebanon imposed the entry into force of provisions in the agreement for establishment of a special tribunal. The establishment of courts has many historical and practical reasons. The first cause are practiced on the extent of an emergency situation such as armed conflict, civil strife, religious and ethnic tension. Second, broken judicial system due to emergency situation. Third, the judicial saw there was no need for an international court of justice. Fourth, exposure of past misdeeds helps gradual reconciliation. Finally, using the national judiciary under international scrutiny may prove useful. In practical terms, states have preferred to restore neither to national law to international criminal courts, but rather to establish courts that are mixed in their composition because of the huge expenses, the excessive length of their proceeding, the limited impact of their judicial output on the national populations concerned, and the inefficiency of the inspection authority. In conclusion, attempts have been made to establish streamlined and flexible courts in the territories where the crime took place, which are relatively inexpensively and are only responsible for prosecuting and trying those most responsible for the crime. People should work in close, constructive, and constant agreement. Besides, funding and security are necessary and crucial. Here is the second part. The merits of international crime justice have 4 aspects. First one, international crime courts proper may be more impartial than domestic courts, because they will not be affected by national feelings, political ideologies, widespread resentment among the population, or possible public reaction to the verdict, so that they can ensure the needed impartiality. Second, international judges are better suited to pass judgments over the crime that markedly differ from ordinary criminal offense. Third, international criminal courts entitled to pronounce upon crime that offend universal values. In addition, when they apply international principles and rules, they are not bound by national approaches and traditions. Finally, as international criminal trials are by definition more visible than national criminal proceedings. The flaws of international criminal justice are as follows. First, lack of enforcement agency directly available to the court. Second, there exists a need for international criminal courts to amalgamate the approach of judges from different cultures and legal backgrounds. Third, the excessive length of international criminal proceedings. Fourth, international criminal courts must perform conformity to prosecuting and trying those who bear heaviest responsibility for international crimes. Fifth, some criminal courts have a tendency to try the vanquished, while the victors remain sheltered from any judicial scrutiny. Here is the third part. The third part is international law and the ambit of states' criminal jurisdictions. The actual prosecution of international crimes on the basis of two jurisdiction links, territoriality and active nationality. But international crimes expand the range of national criminal jurisdiction beyond the traditional basis of territoriality. So, international crimes need extraterritorial principles other than active nationality to exercise criminal jurisdictions. And this leads to philosophical differences because everyone has different standing of sovereignty and of the role function of international law in a society of states. So the positive side think according to which states are mental legal entities whose formulation is not regulated by international law would lead one to believe that they was born free from obligation and rights, and international law only intervenes to restrain their otherwise unfettered freedom. International law would not attribute to them competence or powers that alone in criminal matters. As for negative sides, they think international law regulates the formulation of the state. It confers upon their rights and obligations in relation to their territories in accordance with the principle of sovereign quantity. Extraterritorial titles of jurisdictions could only be restored to if these powers was expressly provided for international law. Here comes a question: how to deal with the exercise of extraterritorial jurisdictions. The majority thinks the exercise of extraterritorial jurisdiction of international crimes will always be possible unless one can point to the extent of a rule of international law prohibiting it. The judges did not provide a list of possible rules to that effect. They confined themselves to demonstrating that the exercise criminal jurisdiction was classified by the court as a form of territorial jurisdiction and not forbidden by international law. The opposite and the more modern approach think according to which criminal jurisdiction is principally territorial, obviously implies that in the matter of repression of international crimes, one should point to a rule of international law allowing the exercise of extraterritorial jurisdiction and at the treaty law level. The task could be relatively easy since one can find rules around on the basis of special head international law. Here we come to the last part. I will introduce 4 principles of international crimes. The first principle is principle of territoriality. It means a crime is committed outside in a state's territory is justiciable in the state. It has some advantage, such as it's easy to collect evidence, usually the place where the rights of the accused are best safeguarded. And the judges, jury, and advocates are aware of local feeling about crimes and the conscious of her press and public's close scrutiny of their administration of justice, and the territory state affirms its authorities over attacks on peace and security within its bounds, but at the same token it helps to deter the commission of future offenses. Also, it has some problems. The first one, in the case of international crimes, they may have a major obstacle to the exercise of criminal jurisdiction. Second, the definition territory subject to the sovereignty of state is not clear. And the third problem is that the determination of complex crimes. If many states have jurisdiction, we cannot infer from national legal system a uniform regulation of the matter. The second principle is principle of active nationality. It means in some states, criminal laws apply over certain acts committed by their national abroad. In the other countries, jurisdiction over crimes committed by nations abroad is subordinated to the crime being punished under the law on the territorial. Hence, the law of the state of active nationality must provide for the possibility of trying the accused, so that he does not escape justice. The principle brings about a question. The moment at which the alleged perpetrator must possess the nationality of the persecuting state is when the crime is perpetrated or when criminal proceedings are instituted. Most states tend to accept that the nationality may pose a moment, thus broadening the jurisdiction of the state and better ensuring the punishment of international crimes. The third principle is the principle of passive nationality. It means states possess jurisdiction of crimes committed abroad against their own nations. Whenever the accused abroad, a double incrimination is required for prosecuting crime, namely that the offense be considered as such both in the territory, state, and the state of the victim. Its purpose is to avoid persecuting a person for an act that is not considered a criminal offense by the state where it has been performed. The principle does not work well in the case of some international crimes, so it must be applied on the basis of the above two principles. The last principle is active nationality. It means every state can apply its criminal law with respect to crime committed abroad by foreigners and against foreigners. It brings up problem whether the criminal legislation of a state can regulate acts committed abroad by foreigners against foreigners when the suspect has never entered territory of a state after a crime. The problem will be solved by the next presenter. That's all my presentations. Thank you for listening.